back here at Wild Boys Brewery, working on my pot a little bit today. Hopefully I'll get it put together and be able to brew with it on Tuesday. Had to do a little more running around and go get a water heater wrench, socket, whatever you want to call it, so you can hold the water heater element in place while you tighten the nut up. And then basically once you get it down to where it's starting to seat, then you kind of want to not turn the nut and turn the element, and you just kind of have to go back and forth and get it to where the O-ring is about half compressed. I was going by what Bobby from New Jersey at brewhardware.com shows on his videos. Followed his instructions on everything, and I ain't had nothing leak yet, so he knows what he's talking about. And I also got some parts from him which were grade A stuff. Spin around this here and show it to you. The pot's getting leak tested right now. I got the element installed and I haven't wired it up yet, but basically I just got enough water in this thing to, it's all running off the stove eye right now, but I was kind of wanting to be safe about leak checking it, not wire it up and leak check it. I'm going to let this come up to a boil and check it out and make sure it doesn't leak. And this is the housing that comes from brewhardware.com, and looks like we're still, let me get my hand, we're still good, no leaks. Basically that's the part that goes underneath the element on the outside of the pot, and then there is, it's on the wire. I'll say basically this is what's going to come off the outside of the pot. And then I got to hook these wires up, my ground and my two hot wires. Basically I'm not using the neutral, so I'm just going to clip that off, and then this will be shielded all the way out. Got a dryer 3-prong plug-in on that, and then that will run out to the control box. Then the control box has another pigtail coming out of it that goes down to the stove outlet. And I've got enough room behind my stove here that I can actually get the plug-in, run around the side of it and down to the outlet. So I didn't have to run a new outlet for mine. I'm eventually probably going to wind up doing it. Put it in a different place. I don't know. I like brewing in the kitchen. It's where I've always brewed at, and it's where the stereo's at and so forth. Sink. It's convenient for me. Basically, I'm going to leak check this thing, hook it up, and if we're good to go, then tomorrow we'll be brewing an IPA with it. That's pretty much it. Let's see, I got the orange almond chocolate stout is ready to start drinking today. I have to clean the line for that, and then I'm going to tap it tonight and start checking it out. The carbonated gravity sample was phenomenal. I was really impressed with it. It's probably the best chocolate beer I've ever made, and I've made some pretty good ones, but this one just was like I drank it and I was just like, wow. And I was really happy with the way it turned out, so I'm looking forward to getting into it tonight and check out the carved up cold version. The Belgian strong dark ale is still going into its I think it's the second or third week on the Belgian Abbey yeast. I got some fermenters ordered from Northern Brewer. Some of those plastic big mouths like I had with the blonde sour. I got one with the Rosalaire in it. Once it's done with primary, I'll transfer it out of the brew bucket and put it in the big mouth and put the Brett on it and let it go for about 6 weeks with the Brett. And then I'm going to pitch the consecration dregs that I got in there, and it's got more Brett and pedio, I think. Pedio or lacto, or maybe a little bit of both. I have to go back and look. Vinny likes using one of them better than the other one, and right off the top of my head I can't remember what it is. But I got some dregs out of a consecration going in there, and that's what I'm going to pitch into it. And that's long term down the road here. Looking at that, I'll just do updates on it as we go. That's pretty much it. Gonna wrap it up. I will have some more video hopefully tomorrow of my brew day with my new pod if everything goes like it's supposed to. So far so good. And I have some Brewday footage of the El Dorado IPA. Alright, it's disco time. Got it wired up. But we now have 5,500, 5,600 watts kicking. I got just enough water in there to cover the element up. May wind up trimming my tail down here a little bit, my lead. It plugs in. Here's the enclosure all put together, and that's from brewinghardware.com. And then that runs over to a plug, and then plugs in there so I can disconnect it. Runs on over here to a box, and here's my box, and it's got, basically I got it turned wide open now, but basically it's just a, and you can hear it stop. Fire it back up, and basically what it is, it's a 9,500 watt dimmer switch with a silicone speed control. And then that runs back behind the stove and plugs up underneath there. So we're disco, rock and roll, no leaks. Alright, Wild Boys Brewery is now off the stove and all electric. So we'll come back with some more footage tomorrow with my brew day. Looking forward to checking this out. And this should cut my brew day just about in half, because it's doubled the heating capacity. It's 2,600 watts to 5,500 or 56. So it should really severely shorten the amount of time it takes to everything to heat up. So I'm happy. And I will see you tomorrow on my brew day. Cheers. Hey everybody, it's Brad here at Wild Boys Brewery, doing my first official all-electric brew day. Well, not technically, but it's my first all-electric brew day with my element in the kettle. I've always brewed inside on the stove, and if any of you guys have ever brewed on the stove, I do full boils, 7.2, 7.8 gallons on the stove, and it takes an hour and a half for it to reach a boil, which is like, really takes a bunch of time onto your brew day. Finally said screw it, I'm gonna go electric, put the element inside the kettle, and wow, what a difference that's made. Basically I've heated my strike water up from 50 degrees out of the tap up to 176, 180 degrees. It was like 20 minutes. I didn't time it exactly, but just kind of going by. I was doing other things, and usually I have time to mill my grain, weigh my grains out, mill them, get the hops out. I didn't even have time to get my grains milled. I had to turn this thing off before I even got it. I got them weighed out, looked over at the temperature on the kettle, and it was like 179 degrees. So I had to cut it off and then go mill my grains and come back. So this thing's just like totally going to shave off a bunch of time off my brew day. So I'm like super stoked about that. What I got going on right now is I am heating up my mash tun. It's got 178 degree water in it. And then I am heating up the rest of my strike water and my sparge water. So there's like 5 gallons in here. And you can see the little bubbles coming off the element. It's rocking and rolling. So we'll put the lid back on this thing. Got the grains milled. And what we have today is a El Dorado IPA. And we're doing 12 pounds of pearl, 1 pound of Karistan, which is my crystal, pound of flaked oats, half pound each of honey malt and carapils. And then for the hops, we're doing first wort hop with pine fruit, 1 ounce of German Magnum at 60, 1 ounce of Citra and Amarillo at 20, and then half ounce, or also another half ounce of El Dorado at 20, and then at flame out I'm doing 3.5 ounces of El Dorado, 2 ounces of Amarillo, and then I'm doing 2 ounces each in the dry hop of El Dorado, Chinook, and Citra. And we're using the Omega Yeast Double IPA, which is the Conan strain for my yeast today. Our bowl, So I gotta weigh my hops out yet still, so I'm gonna go ahead and get on that. Alright, we're shooting for 152. And by the way, the honey malt, the Gambrinus honey malt, and this oats in here smell fabulous. I think we're getting some fog in here. Alright, we are at 152.45. Good enough. And like I said, this malt bill smells awesome. It smells sweet, oaty. Oaty's a word. We'll make it a word. Yum. This thing's gonna taste great. So we'll see you back when we do some hop drops. Cheers. Alright, we're back to a full pot again, 7.2 gallons. And we are at about 186, 7 degrees. So we'll stand by here with a spray bottle. And probably have to turn this down just a little bit once it hits its hot break. And once that passes, I'll crank it back up to where I got a good rolling boil, but not jumping out of the pot. So we'll be back. I already did the first wort hop with the pine fruit. And that's smelling pretty righteous in here. So we'll be back when we get ready to pass the hop break and start doing some hop drops. Check it out. We're past the hop break. It's my first hop break in the new pot. Tight speaker moment for sure, but we did not have any jumping out of the pot action. I did have to hit it a couple of times with the spray bottle to knock the head down. But this one's for you, Tony Yates. You told me I was going to have to be careful filling this thing all the way up. It's like we're good, brother. Alright, here's our 60-minute drop. We got some German Magnum, which smells wonderful. It's got a real nice citrusy smell to it. 14.2. So here we go. Alright. That's our bittering drop, and then we won't do anything else until 20 minutes. So we'll be back with the 20-minute drop. Alright, we're nearing the end of the boil here. And here's my little wee drop of El Dorado. It's 4.5 ounces, I think. Let me look here. No, it's 3.5 ounces of El Dorado and 2 of Amarillo. And that's going to be the Whirlpool edition. Throwing it in at flame out here in 6 minutes. So far, everything's went great. So I'm pretty happy with the way things turned out on the pot, and look forward to using it again. And come back here when I got the original gravity and see if I hit my numbers or not. Alright, that's my timer beeping, telling me it's flame out time. So we'll just go here and turn this all the way off. And we're off. And now it is time for some luscious hops. Nice little wee drop. And we'll just give this baby a stir. And then we'll set the timer for 20 minutes. And let this hop stand, and then we'll throw the chiller on, and we'll be good to go. I already got 20 on there. We'll come back when I got the gravity sample and see if I hit my numbers. Okay, we're wrapping up the brew day. We wound up hitting about 1061, 1062. It's a little lower than what I expected to get, but I think what's going on is I had to loosen the gap up on my grain mill to mill this pearl malt, and it's affected my efficiency a little bit. It's basically lower your efficiency or don't mill your grains with that stuff. So I can live with it. It's about 0.6 of a point off from what it should have been, so I'm not going to worry about it. Usually winds up attenuating down below what it's supposed to anyway, and it winds up hitting the numbers. But totally happy with the way the pot works, the upgrade. Well, I was real happy with the way everything worked. No leaks. Shortened my brew day down from about, normally takes me about 8 hours, and they cut it down to about 6. I got a late start. Would have been probably about 5 hours, 5.5, something like that. But I did a longer boil today, or not a longer boil. I did a hop stand at the end, which added an extra 20 minutes onto it, so that increased the brew day too. But it was nice getting done a little bit sooner than I usually do, and then it's super cool putting your strike water and your mash out water and stuff like that in there and turning that thing on, and it's like up to where it needs to be in like 15, 20, 30 minutes at the most, instead of waiting an hour and a half for the stove to heat it up. So that's totally awesome. I'm gonna wrap it up. Hope everybody has a good week. Happy Homebrew Wednesday, and cheers.